So we have already seen how Ashapati initial yoga moved very rapidly from the mental. He has entered into the spiritual domain in the griffin forefront of day and night. As the line says, griffin forefront of the day and night. Griffin, the mythical creature with the body of a lion and the head of an eagle. Now, griffin, as I told you earlier, is also presented to us by Dante in his Divine Comedy. When he has moved through the worlds of Inferno and Purgatory, Virgil cannot be any more his guide, because what is going to follow is going to follow what had come after Christ, and Virgil was before Christ, so he cannot lead him further into the third world, the paradise. There he had the guide of Beatrice herself to take him to different parts of the paradise and show him different places there to see. Now, it is at that place the chariot of Dante is driven by the griffin. From purgatory into paradise, he takes the chariot driven by the griffin. Griffin, animal body, and the wings of an eagle. It is that. From that point onward, it is only eagle which is taking him to different skies, up and up, you see. And therefore later on he says, his march became an eagle's flight. Later on, he is in the paradise. So now the same thing is happening here. I will not say exactly the same thing, but the analogy is of that kind, that Ashapati has now left behind the mental world, the world of the physical, the vital, the mental, our world, and now he is entering into the spiritual world. And it is there that the eagle is now taking him to different parts of the spiritual world. And what we are seeing here are the experiences of Ashapati in the spiritual plane, you see. And the first faculty which opens out in his case is the faculty of pure perception. Pure perception, that is the faculty which opens out in the case of Ashapati. Now, as I said earlier, ours is a rational mind, a thinking mind, governed by mental ideas and concepts and things like that. But there are faculties above, beyond mind, as I told you last year, discernment, then comes inspiration, comes revelation, discrimination. These faculties open out after you go beyond the mental plane. So the first faculty which Ashapati is seeing now, is experiencing now, is the faculty of discernment. Dakshina, the goddess Dakshina, has now presented herself to him, and from that point onward, his vision, his perception of things, his ideas, his knowledge of things is of a different kind than the knowledge which you get from mind. Now this pure perception is the real beginning of spiritual life. It is not ratiocination, it is not mental thinking, mental manufacture of ideas and thoughts, but something which you get directly from elsewhere and you are driven by that thing. How it happen? That is a question of your own perception and how you have developed your senses, your faculties, how much you are open to them. It is that which will determine those factors. So, last time I also said that this pure perception is the faculty which had opened out first in the case of Savitri. When she was doing the yoga, she was told to annul herself completely. In Book 7, Canto 6, she was given clear instruction. She has found her soul. The soul has identified itself completely with her divine soul. Divine Savitri and human Savitri, they have merged into each other. But the identification of the divine, of the human Savitri with the divine Savitri is not sufficient for the work of Savitri. You have discovered the soul, which is a great thing by itself, you see. We don't even go that far. You have discovered the soul, but then that is the beginning of your real work. Discovering the soul is the beginning of your real work, you see. The question now which arises in front of us is always, all right, the soul is okay, it is already divine. It is a part of the divine itself. It is the immortal himself who has come into the mortal. That is the soul. The immortal who has come in the immortal. That is the divine soul, you see. What the Vedas says, Amrutam Marteshu, he is the divine soul. Agni himself is the divine soul. So, that is the soul which is here in us. All right, it is doing its work. But identification of the divine soul with the supreme soul, of the human soul with the supreme soul is one step. Beyond that, you are concerned about your physical nature, your vital nature, your inconscient born faculties. They have to go away and they have to open themselves also to the divine. So the real work starts after the discovery of the soul. After you have found the soul, the real work starts with that, you see. So Savitri was told to empty herself out completely, to make herself free totally from all that is born of inconscience. Her physical nature, her vital nature, her mental nature, her thoughts and all that thing. She has to empty them out completely, so that only then the divine faculties can enter into it and work properly. So that is what she was told, and she is now proceeding along that line, you see. So there she was told to empty out, and her first focus, first concentration is on thoughts. Therefrom these thoughts come. And she finds that the thoughts either come from the subtle body, various parts of the subtle body, the subtle limbs, subtle faculties which you have got, the subtle sukshma deha, from their limbs, heart, nose, the 7 centers which are present there, from there the thought, even from the limbs, from the tissue, from the nerves, the thoughts are arising. She sees them. So the thoughts either come from the subtle body or they come from outside, from the cosmic field. From outside they come, from various worlds, from the worlds of the gods, from the worlds of demons, from the worlds of vital world. So the thoughts can rush in there. So there you have to stop them coming here, and you have to see. So when that is done, then you have the pure perception as your leading guide to do your yoga further, you see. So Ashwapati has now started with that yoga. Savitri yoga was to discover the soul first and then come to the pure perception and then go further up. Ashwapati has already found his soul, you see. Now the question is, he has to release the soul and go into the spiritual domain. So he heard the secret voice, the word that knows, the word that knows. See, it is the Shabda, word, utterance, speech. It is that knows, not you. Word itself in the Vedic literature, in the Rig Veda, Brahma is called word. The power of knowledge, power of expression, of truth faculties, power of expression of truth faculties, that is called the word, Brahma. Rig Veda uses the word Brahma for word. You see. The voice that knows, so it is the word that knows, you see, and saw the secret face that is our own. Yes, we are not aware of our own true face. He heard the secret voice. You see, this voice also is a capital voice. It is the voice coming from outside, from higher plane, you see, and saw the secret face that is our own. So, Ashwapati has entered into the mental domain. The cosmic thoughts are coming into him. He is controlling them, he is governing them. The inner planes uncovered the crystal door. Now, the other part is opening out in the case of Ashwapati. The inner part, the subtle part, the inner being is opening out. The inner planes uncovered the crystal door, crystal, bright, beautiful, through which you can pass very clearly, you see. Crystal door, strange powers and influences touched his life. See, when you are entering, you are not simply going there as a tourist to see various things like that, you see. What is happening is you are living in those worlds and those powers are acting in you. You are receiving their influences directly. Strange powers and influences touched his life. The moment you have entered into the subtle world, into that inner world, they will act and you are open to them. The inner planes uncovered their crystal doors. You see, they are really very beautiful lines. Means it's a very nice passage to go into that, you see. Strange powers and influences touched his life. A vision came of higher realms than ours. That is in the inner world, in his inner consciousness now is happening. A vision came of higher realm than ours. A consciousness of brighter fields and skies. The inner doors are opened and a new vision has come to him, and there is a consciousness of brighter fields and skies. He is now in a different land altogether. He is in different heavens altogether. These are the heavens of various gods and goddesses, of angels, of divine creatures, through which he is now able to move, not ordinary human being. See, there are Gandharvas, there are the musicians, there are celestial beings. Through them now he is moving them. A consciousness of brighter fields and sky, or beings. You see, he says beings. So all kinds of beings are there now in that world. Less circumscribed than brief-lived men. Yeah, our life is a brief life. Mortal life is a short life, and we live from life to life like that. But they live there permanently there. Less circumscribed. It does not mean that they are completely free. They are less circumscribed. They have their own limitations also, you see, of those beings. Of beings less circumscribed than brief-lived men, and subtler bodies than these passing frames. Our body is a passing frame. You discard again and again and assume a new body continuously. That is the process of rebirth, you see. But the subtle body, if it is sufficiently psychized, can continue to be there always with you, see, subtle body, you see. And it's not one body, subtler body. There are seas below seas within us, you see. And subtler bodies than these passing frame, what the Gita says, in the case of we normal, mortal human being, our body is like a worn out piece of cloth. Jirnani vastrani. It becomes worn out, the body, you discard it, assume another cloth, assume another dress, another robe, and go on like that. So that is what the passing frames mean, you see. Jirnani, it has become worn out. Vastrani, vastra means cloth, you see. Passing frame, objects too fine for our material grasp. In other words, our faculties, our instruments cannot really discern them, cannot study them. See, in the synthesis of yoga, Sri Aurobindo speaks of the telescope, the microscope, the scalpel, the retort. These are the chemical vessels, the alembic. These are the vessels, the instruments of a scientist. It is by these we study things. They cannot touch the kind of materials you have got in the inner world. No telescope can see those things. No microscope can penetrate to them. No retort, no scissor can cut that thing at all, you see. In fact, what the Upanishadic phrase is, it is finer than the fine. Finer than the fine. In fact, that is the phrase also in Savitri. Finer than the fine, you see. And you cannot cut it, you cannot touch it, you cannot see it. You have to have a different faculties for seeing them and understanding them. Our beings less circumscribed than the brief-lived men, and subtler bodies than this passing frame, objects too fine for our material gram. Well, all right, I can understand that we may not be able to understand those objects, but then what are the instruments by which I can study them? My tools are useless, all right, I throw them away, I don't go by them. Tell me then, please, what are the instruments I can use for knowing them, understanding them? The pure perception, the faculty of cognition, of understanding, of receiving the knowledge directly from them, that is what you have to develop. You don't throw something and try to catch something. You see, you receive something from the star and then you say, okay, this is like this is like this is black star, this is the green star, this is red star, like that, you see. Or you look into the microscope and then from that you see it is this DNA, this is this protein, you can start studying like that, you see. Now, our faculties are basically governed by the physical instrument, and no physical instruments can penetrate into the subtler aspects of matter. No physical instrument can penetrate into the subtler aspects of matter. Totally out of the question, you see. So, what are the faculties then? The only faculties are that I have to develop new tools of cognition. Beyond perception, you have got inspiration, you have got revelation, you have intuition, you have to develop those faculties and get knowledge directly from them. It is the object which will tell me, I am like this, I am like this, I am like this. The object will tell you like that, you see. See, long ago, maybe 5,000 years, 7,000 years ago, we don't know, in the 7 stars here, there is a star which is actually a twin star. Or the 7 stars, you know, it's a twin star. Now, these people, the Vedic rishis, had seen that star, the twin star, and they could see that there are 2 stars. Not only they could see these 2 stars, there were no telescopes in those days at all. But then there was a faculty by which they say, yes, there are 2 stars actually there. And not only that they could see these 2 stars, they could say that they are rotating around each other, around a common axis. These 2 stars are rotating like that. It is not one star going like that, but the 2 stars are going like that constantly. They were able to see that thing, the twin star. They called it Vasishtha and Arundhati. Vasishtha is the name of a rishi, Arundhati is his wife, and these 2 stars were named Vasishtha and Arundhati. They rotate around each other constantly. What a beautiful picturesque way of depicting that thing, because it is the rishi who has seen that thing. Now, that kind of knowledge does not come with the telescope alone. See, they already had that sort of a knowledge completely with them, and they understood the whole astronomy from that angle. Now, it is another matter that they didn't record how they approached, because that was not their concern. Their concern was different. The faculties have opened out, they have used the faculties have been expressed in certain manner, and for them the purpose was something different than that. Therefore, they didn't record as we do in the case of a scientific observation like that, you see. In fact, that is what the rishis did. How they knew about the properties of plants. The plants will say, yes, I can cure this, yes, I can cure that, yes, I can do that. The plants will come and tell them like that. The flowers will come and tell them like that. That is what the mother says. This flower is like this flower is like that, this flower is... It is the flower which is telling her like that, you see. And she is giving the names to them, you see. So, the faculty has to open out like that. It is a different kind of a knowledge altogether. Then your understanding of the physical nature also becomes a different kind of an understanding, you see. Objects too fine for a material ground acts vibrant to the superhuman light, vibrant to the superhuman light, you see. That is what happens, and movements pushed by superconscious force, and joy that never flows through mortal limbs, and joy that never flows through mortal limbs, at lovelier scenes than earth and happier life, lovelier scenes than earth and happier lives. That is what they have already seen. Now these are the faculties which have opened up because the inner vision has dawned. In the case of Ashwapati, the inner vision has come. He says now, the inner planes, they are revealing now all those things to him. He is knowing everything completely here. And movement and acts vibrant with a superhuman light. You see, acts vibrant, whatever you are doing, they are full of light energy, luminous, bright, and it is that which is taking forward. Acts vibrant to superhuman light and movement pushed by a superconscious force. It is not the ordinary force which is driving them, a much higher, bright, luminous force which is really driving them on. And movement pushed by superconscious force and joys that never flowed to mortal limbs. So our physical body had never experienced those joys, those ecstasies, you see, those happinesses, that gladness, it never experienced, but now it has opened out to that thing. And joy that never flowed to mortal limbs, and lovelier scenes than earth and happier lives. Yeah, our earth is full of beautiful scenes. There are rivers, mountains, forests, greeneries, all kinds of things. There are animals, there are birds, beasts and all things. But here you are living in a different world altogether. And what we have here is really nothing compared with what they have got there this year. Lovelier scenes than earth and happier life. Yeah, happier life. Happier, yeah, well, they may be happier than us. That does not mean that is the ultimate happiness. See, that is a stage of them. They are happy, they are contented. They are happy. Like Gandharvas, musicians, the celestial beings, angels, fairies, they are happy in their own world. See. And lovelier scenes than earth and happier life. A consciousness of beauty and of bliss. A knowledge which became what it perceived. Knowledge is perceiving something, but it is not just that. The perception itself has become a fact, an actuality. It gets materialized. Knowledge is not just for the sake of knowledge. The idea is there. You have got a beautiful idea. It may be any, yes, I want this kind of flower, beautiful flower, idea is there. Now, that is not sufficient. That flower should become a material object in front of you. So, in one, that idea of a flower now itself becomes a flower. You have got an idea of a chair. Well, it has to become finally a chair physically. The idea of a chair has to become a physical chair ultimately. A consciousness of beauty and a blame, a knowledge which became what it perceived, replaced the separated sense and heart and drew all nature into its embrace. So this knowledge and this consciousness, they embrace now everything in them, you see. That is what has happened when he has entered into the inner world, into the inner planes, you see. The mind leaned out to meet the hidden worlds. Yeah, you see, there are worlds, behind world, behind world, behind world. Now that mind is opening out. He has described beauty and bliss and heart. Now, what about mind? Mind also is trying to discover them. The mind leaned out to meet the hidden world. Air glowed and teemed with marvelous shapes and hues. Air glowed and teemed with marvelous shapes and hues. So it's not an ordinary air. What kind of colors the air has got, we don't know there, you see. Our air is a colorless air, you see. Sometimes you have got beautiful colors also in the air. But then that is because of the other ingredients that are there, not air proper by itself. Air glowed and teemed with marble shapes and hues. In the nostrils quivered celestial fragrances. On the tongue lingered honey of paradise. So, what you are tasting, the animal paradise. What you are smelling, the odor is the odor of something celestial, of something beautiful, something fragrant, not ordinary scents and perfumes, what we have got here. In the nostrils quiver. See, he is now, because he is talking about the inner body, he is talking of our senses. Taste, smell, sight, hearing, all these faculties now they are seeing something different because the inner domains have opened out. See, the mind leaned out to meet the hidden world. See, in our case, you got a taste, you have got sight, you have got sound, hearing, you smell, fragrance is there, all these faculties, touch is there, you see. Now, these faculties by themselves do not really convey to us, give knowledge. It is the impression of this thing which is taken to the brain, and then the brain formulates and then, yeah, it is sweet, it is bitter, it is poisonous, like that, you see. It is what we have got here. Now, in other words, behind the senses there is the faculty of recognition, but behind this faculty of physical recognition, there is a higher faculty of what is called the manasa. Behind five senses which you have got, is the mind. Mind is the main sense, and it is mind which says all that kind of a thing, you see. You think of food and suddenly your tongue starts watering. Now, see, the thought is coming and then it is coming, you see. Same way, you think of a fragrance, you should be able to smell that thing, but we don't see. You think of a beautiful picture, you should be able to see that picture. See, we don't see that thing. When it comes to food, yeah, we start, our tongue starts becoming wet, you see, no? Air glowed and tamed with marvelous shapes and hues. In the nostrils quivered celestial fragrances. On the tongue lingered the honey of paradise, a channel of universal harmony. Hearing was a stream of magic audience. Now he is talking of hearing. Hearing was a stream of magic audience. So hearing itself is a stream now moving, you see. A bed for occult sounds, earth cannot hear. Earth cannot hear those sounds at all. It is an occult sound, deep, secret, inner sound. Earth has no instruments to recognize those vibrations, those sounds. See? A bed because it is a stream. Therefore, it is a bed, you see. Hearing was a stream of magic audience, a bed for occult sounds, earth cannot hear. Out of a covered tract of slumber cell, the voice came of a truth submerged. Out of a covered tract of slumber, tract, a piece of land, region, slumber cell, the self of slumber, the self of sleep. Out of it, out of the slumber cell, means it is from the self of sleep, a voice is coming out. Coming out what? What is that voice? Of the truth which is submerged, which is below the mental cognition, which is like a ship under the sea, or like an object which is under the sea, submerged, you see. The voice came of a truth submerged, unknown, that flows beneath the cosmic surfaces. You see, the surface is there, below that submerged, there are truth voices. Those voices are coming out, and they are coming now into the domain of the self of sleep. Yes. Which means the self of sleep is getting awakened to those voices, you see, that flows beneath the cosmic surface, only mid an omniscient silence heard. Yeah, only when there is a great all-knowing silence, omniscient silence, all-knowing silence, you can hear the sound. But here, now they have opened up. The voice came of a truth. So that truth is there. In fact, where is it that truth is not present? Truth is present everywhere. Even behind falsehood, there is truth. Even behind evil, there is a truth. Even behind all our ignorance, there is a truth. We don't know of that thing. We only see the surface part of it, the ignorance. But there is truth there everywhere. That is the submerged truth. Unknown that flows beneath the cosmic surfaces, only made an omniscient silence heard, held by intuitive heart and secret sense. Now, who is holding the truth? Intuitive heart and secret sense. These faculties of cognition, of understanding, of seeing, of listening, we don't have. But then there is the ear behind the ear, there is the eye behind the eye, there is the taste behind the taste. It is that faculty, that ear behind the ear, it is that which is listening to the sound and responding to that. Intuitive heart. You see, this is the intuition of the heart directly. It is not an intuition coming from mind or from other planes. Heart itself knows whether it is right or wrong. Heart itself will respond directly or indirectly things around, you see. Intuitive heart. See, this is something very interesting from the point of view of psychology, that the heart itself has an intuition. It is not only the mind which is having intuition. In fact, one can even go a step further and say that even the body has its own intuition. The intuition does not stop with that. The heart has an intuition, the body also has an intuition of things, you see. We are crude people, we are not recognizing the possibility the body presents, and therefore we don't understand the intuition the body has. We don't understand. See, the body will tell you, you see, I am feeling very ill and all that kind. The body says, forget about that. I know. But we are not listening to the body. We will run to the doctor and do this and do that kind of thing. The body itself has an intuition, something which is very joyous and beautiful and true, but it gets lost in our daily activity. Same way the heart also has an intuition. The intuition of the heart comes directly from the contact the heart has with the soul. The soul is closest to the heart is closest to the soul, and therefore heart can receive directly something from the soul, and that is the intuition of the heart. What the soul is trying to prompt is giving something that heart receives and expresses itself. Very often you don't think that it should be done like that, but suddenly you feel this is not true, this should be done like that, you see. In what the heart is telling you its own response in a certain situation. Whether you listen to it or not is a different matter, but the heart is capable of receiving that kind of an intuition. Held by intuitive heart and only made an omniscient. Now, when can the heart listen to that intuition? When there is the omniscient silence. There has to be really all-knowing silence, then only it will respond to that. When there is that silence, then only it will respond. Only with an omniscient silence heard, held very intuitive heart and secret sense. It caught the burden of secrecy, sealed and dumb. The heart. It caught the burden of secrecy, sealed. They are there. All the secrecies are there. They have not been opened out to us. We are ignorant of them. We have not tapped them at all because we have not opened our heart to them. It caught the burden of secrecy, sealed and dumb. It voiced the unfulfilled demand of earth. See, what a great thing. The earth is crying for certain faculties of divine possibilities, of truth, of beauty, of love, of joy, of happiness, of power, of knowledge. Earth is striving for that thing, demanding for that thing. But it is that intuitive heart which has responded to that. It caught the burden of secrecies, sealed and dumb. It voiced the unfulfilled demand of and the song of promise of unrealized heaven. And the song of promise of unrealized heaven. What a lyrical line again, suddenly you see, beautiful, sweet, very lyrical. And the song of promise of unrealized heaven. Or the song, that is one foot, of promise. That is, the first foot is anape, the second foot is I am. Third foot is promise of, is empiric, unrealized is I will say an anapest, unrealized haven. This is amphibrach. So this is the metrical scheme of this line, you see. And a song of promise of unrealized haven. See, there is a kind of music in the line, you see. Just keep on repeating, chanting it, and the song of promise of unrealized haven. See how the vowels are arranged and how they move sweetly, you see. And the beauty of this line is the repetition of these words. S, song, promise, song, haven. The repetition of S, the alliteration of S gives a kind of smoothness to the flow of line also. A sort of smoothness in there. So that is the skill, the art of a poet, you see. Now, of course, the poet is not thinking and writing a line like that. He gets it sort of spontaneously. To the power of inspiration, the line comes as it is like that, straight away to him, because he is open to the true inspiration, directly coming here. He is not thinking, okay, now let me put alliteration of S. He is not doing that kind of a thing. It comes directly like that in the flow. And a song of promise of unrealized haven. That is the promise. The heavens are there and they have to come here. Where? They have to come here in response to the demand of earth. The heavens are there, they have to come in demand of earth. They have to come here back, you see. And that is song, the welcome song. And all that hides in omnipotent sleep. You see, we have got here earlier slumber self, now you have got omnipotent sleep. Omnipotent sleep. Sleep, S capital, that is sushupti. Sleep here stands for sushupti. Pradnya, consciousness. Omnipotent, it is powerful, all powerful. Pradnya, consciousness. Sushupti, you see. And all. So in the world, his faculty through the inner door is now opening out to the omnipotent sleep. Sushupti, you see. It caught the burden, the secrecy, sealed and dumb. It voiced the unfulfilled demand of and the song of promise of unrealized haven, and all that hides in an omnipotent sleep. Now obviously, the song of promise of unrealized havens is essentially here for the yogi, Ashwapati. He has opened out to them. But this is an eternal song for the entire mortal being, mortal creature. We are not open to that thing, but that is exactly what should happen tomorrow. Our being should open out to the song of unrealized haven, should be able to hear that thing. Then, when our being opens out to the song of unrealized havens, then you can say that the process of divine manifestation has started happening. When the songs become a part of our aspiration and we start realizing it, then it is a process of the divine manifestation. This is in the case of an individual. Ashwapati is hearing those things, and a song of promise of unrealized heaven, and all that hides in an omnipotent sleep, in the unceasing drama carried by time. Yeah, this is the drama. Time is carrying on the whole thing. On its long listening flood that bear the world, on its long listening flood that bear the world. It's time. Time is a stream. Time is a moving stream, you see. And the unceasing drama carried by time, on its long listening flood that bear the world. So it is the stream of time which is really holding the world, you see. Things are moving in that. Insoluble doubt on a pilgrimage without goal. Insoluble doubt on a pilgrimage without goal. Yeah, you are hoping to go to a holy place. You are constantly on the pilgrimage here, but you don't know the goal, you see. And you have a constant doubt, and that doubt cannot be really resolved. Will I be able to reach that thing? Will I be able to achieve my goal in my life? That is a constant doubt, that cannot be. Insoluble doubt on a pilgrimage goal, a laughter of sleepless pleasure foamed and spumed and murmurings of desire that cannot die. So these are there constantly. These things are constantly happening. In the unceasing drama of time, all these things are happening constantly in us. The being in us is such that things from within, from without, from the subconscious, they are coming and doing the play. And murmurings of desire that cannot die. See, these are the parts of our being from the lower subconscious, you see, and murmurings of desire that cannot die. A cry came to the world's delight to be. So when all this is happening, still there is a cry, all this is there of delight, that delight should be here. A cry came to the world's delight to be. Meaning, in the stream of time, when all these routine, humdrum things are happening in our life, there is also a cry for the delight, that the delight should come here and be here. You see, this is also a cry. A cry came, there was delight to be, the grandeur and greatness of his will to live. What is that grandeur? What is that promise? What is that desire? The grandeur and greatness of his will to live. It's of the delight to live. The grandeur and greatness of his will to live. Recall the soul's adventure into space. Why the soul has plunged into this mortal world. It has a purpose here. It has accepted the condition of mortality, of ignorance, of fate, of travel, all these things. And it is the grandeur and greatness of his will to live. It is for that purpose the soul has come here, to live that grandeur. Recall the soul's adventure into space. A traveler through magic centuries. A traveler through the magic century. That is our soul, going from life to life, age after age. This traveler, the Vedic Rishi says, Agni is a traveler. Agni is a traveler. He is a traveler because it is Agni who takes us from life to life. And it is by that process of going from life to life we make progress. It is Agni who affects our progress constantly. It makes our progress possible. Agni. He is a traveler. Agni is defined both as a traveler who goes from life to life, carries our soul forward, and also he is a worker. It is Agni who works within us and brings out all these possibilities which are present in us into play here. Recall the soul's adventure into space. A traveler through the magic century and beings labor in matter's universe. Yes, you see, the gods had told Agni, go inwards. You see, the objects were there as without life, without mind, without soul. And the gods told Agni, go inwards, live in the depths of matter and work out the possibilities of the divine through matter upward. Go inwards, that is the command of the gods to Agni, and Agni accepts that. Inwards, although Agni had that capability and possibility, had the gods not told him to go inwards, things would not have started happening. He was told to go inward into matter and then start happening here. Had the gods had not told. But it is not that as if Agni was waiting for the command of the gods. It is not like that. In a way of speaking, like a story, yes, the gods are there and telling, okay, Agni, you go and live now in matter. And then only Agni goes. It is not out of his own will or wish or desire that Agni is going into matter and doing things. He will not do also that thing, because there has to be, for the evolutionary process of manifestation, of working out things, a collaborative effort of all the gods. You go inward, we are there with you. When they say you go inward, it means that yes, we are with you always. We will do all the work. But you are the leader, you are the traveler, you will carry on the work. It is the psychic being, it is soul in us, the immortal and the mortal who takes us forward constantly from life to life. It is that who is working here constantly. Go inward. And the gods are there. Means in the world, when Agni is going there, he is also accompanied by all his friends, all the gods. Varuna, Vayu, Varuna, Indra, Bhaga, all these gods are also there with him, you see. A traveler to the magic centuries and beings labor in matters, he search for the mystic meaning of his birth. His birth. Yes, why you have come Agni here? What for you have taken this birth? Why you have entered into matter? It's a mystic birth. In fact, I will ask myself a question. Yes, I am here. For what? What is the purpose of my taking birth? Why I am here at all in this creation, you see? That is a question which will always ask. It is a meaningful question. And if I understand the meaning of my taking the birth, then my life starts getting fulfilled. It comes on the track, it starts moving along that thing. Until then, well, you are drifted. You don't know what you are doing. See. And beings labor in matters, is search for the mystic meaning of his birth. Mystic meaning, what is the mystic meaning? Yeah, this world is full of ignorance, of difficulties, of falsehood, death, all these things are there. Is that the purpose of your coming and living in this one? You have purpose to accept this condition so that these get transformed into their divine possibilities. Matters ignorance has to become matters knowledge or solitude. You is bright crystal, solid, you see. Everything has to become divine possibilities, you see. So that is the mystic meaning of taking birth, you see. All that is within us, they have to find the divine content in them, you see. And joy of high spiritual response is throb of satisfaction and content in all the sweetness of the gifts of life. Its large breath and pulse and thrill of hope and fear. Its large breath and pulse and thrill of hope and fear. Absolutely monosyllabic line, you see. Its large breath and pulse and thrill of hope and fear. Its large breath. That is the first foot. It's large breath. And pulse, I am. And thrill, third I am. Second I am. Of hope, I am. It's large breath and pulse and thrill of hope and fear. It's taste of pangs and tears of ecstasy. It's rapturous, poignant beat of sudden bliss. His rapturous poignant beat was suddenly the sob of his passion and unending pain. Everything is taken here. That's a part of his living because it is accepted labor in matters universe. It is accepted that condition. He is a traveler in matters centuries, in matters universe. He is a laborer in matters universe. Therefore, he has to accept all these things. His rapturous poignant beat of sudden bliss and the storm of his passion and the unending pain. That is what the traveler has to experience. In fact, that is what the divine Agni who has come within us, the immortal, in the immortal who is there, he is suffering all that thing, you see. Rapture of poignant beat or sudden bliss, yes, sudden bliss is there. Also, there is the unending pain. That is what the immortal is experiencing here. That is the divine Agni who is experiencing all that thing, you see. The murmur and whisper of the unheard sound, yes, you are not able to hear them, but there is a murmur and whisper, you only hear perhaps something of that thing, which crowd around our hearts, but find no window to enter, swell into a canticle of all that suffer to be still unknown, and all that labors vainly to be born, and all the sweetness none will ever take, and all the beauty that will never be. So, crowd, our hearts find no window to enter. Where? Swelled into a canticle. Canticle of what? Of all the suffers to be unknown. All that's a canticle. That labors vainly to be born. All that beauty that will still be born. That is a canticle of rising, aspiration, which crowd around our hearts but find no window to enter, swelled into a canticle of all that suffer to be still unknown, and all that labors vainly to be born, and all the sweetness none ever taste, and all the beauty that will never be, and all the beauty. It is the canticles fell into that for that beauty to be here. See. In a way, of all that suffers to be still unknown, and all that labors vainly to be born, there is a kind of a rhyming here between unknown and born, slight. If one is a little careful, one can hear the rhyming effect of these two, see, of the unknown and born, see. Inaudible to a deaf mortal ear, that's a pity. Inaudible to a deaf mortal ear, we cannot hear them, we are deaf. We are deaf because we are mortal. Because we are mortal, therefore we are deaf. Both. In other words, our mortal ears need not be deaf. They need not. They are deaf, does not mean that they should be deaf. They need not be deaf. The inaudible to our mortal, means even a mortal ear can open out to those things which are inaudible to us today. The wide world rhythms vow the stupendous chant to which life strives to fit our rhyme beats here, melting our limits in the illimitable, tuning the finite to infinity, tuning the finite to infinity, melting the limits to the illimitable, finding the rhyme beats, finding the word rhythm, the stupendous chant. That is the inaudible voice our mortal ear has to hear. The purpose, inaudible to our mortal ear, the worldwide rhythms, what are they doing? They are producing the stupendous chant. There is the rhyme beat here, there is the illimitable here, there is the infinity here. All that thing will open out in that process. Inaudible to a deaf mortal ear, the wide worldism, you see, the moments of the world, of the universe, based on truth consciousness, movement of the world. That is what actually is meant by meter. He talks of world rhythms, meters, rhyme, beat, rhyme, again meter. Say chandas. Basically, the Vedic Rishi speaks of the metrical compositions of the Vedam are based on a few schemes, metrical schemes, chanda. The word is for chanda. Chanda is a meter, you see, in Sanskrit. So, for instance, there is Anushtuba, there is Jagati, there is Trishtuba. There are 7 basic chandas like that. It is these 7 chandas which move in the world. Gayatri is another movement. See. These chandas in which the truth rhythms take place in the transcendent, and the transcription of the truth rhythm is what we have here. In fact, there is a very beautiful description by a rishi. He speaks of Gayatri, Trishtuba of Trishtuba, pentameter of pentameter. What we got here? Pentameter. There is a pentameter up there, and it is that pentameter which is governing the pentameter here. There is the Gayatri up there, it is that Gayatri which is projecting itself here. There is the Trishtuba up there, it is that Trishtuba. Means the kind of movement of those sounds which takes place up there, their rhythm, they are transmitted in our creations here, you see. So when you are talking of pentameter, there is already a supreme pentameter. That is what Savitri is there. It is the pentameter of pentameter. You see, a direct reflection of that pentameter which is in the supreme plane. You see. Trishtuba or Trishtuba, Gayatri of Gayatri, he says, you see. So it is that which will come into play here. Rhyme beats here, you see. So it is that Gayatri which is coming here as our Gayatri, you see. So in other words, if you are really open to that Gayatri, you will be able to really see the truth movements, what that means. And each movement is a world by itself. When there is a movement, there is a rhythm, there is a movement of that kind, then that itself is a word. So Gayatri word is there, Trishtuba word is there, pentameter word is there, so the hexameter of Homer is there, and it is that translated here. So if you are able to move in that thing, that itself creates a new world of sound and of beings, and all the possibilities are present there. So they are already present there, and when you are writing a Gayatri mantra here, it means that you are trying to bring down that Gayatri world, the world of Gayatri which is up there, into our domain here. When she wants to give the Gayatri mantra, see, it means that it is in that he is trying to bring down that Gayatri in immortal creation here. When he is writing a pentameter, it is that pentameter which is writing here. See. Inaudible into a deaf mortal ear, the wide wordisms wow the stupendous chant, to which lies tries to fit our rhyme pitch here, melting our limits and the illimited, melting our limits. So all our limits vanish in that case, you see, because you are now in that, tuning the finite to infinity. A low muttering rose to the subconscious cave. So while this is happening, you are also made of the lower parts here. What happens now from the lower regions? Because Ashwapati is still making the progress, you see. A low muttering rose to the subconscious cave. The stammer of primal ignorance. So the ignorance is stammering and telling, look, Ashwapati, what are you trying to do? What about all these things here? You see? Answer to that inarticulate questioning. They stood with lightning neck and thunder's wing. They stood with lightning neck and thunder's wing. A radiant hymn to the inexpressible, and the anthem, the superconscious light. So there is a kind of murmur from below. The subconscious parts are not yet open. They are not able to receive all those powers of light and beauty and joy. Those perceptions which are there, they are not yet able to hold them at all. But then, while that murmur is there, still there is something coming from above. Answer to that inarticulate question. Inarticulate, it is not able to express that thing. The difficulty is there. It is not able to express that thing. To that question, they are stood with lightning neck. See, it is a creature, it is a being with a lightning neck and thunderous wings. So this is a different kind of a creature altogether. It is an inspiration, it is a response. They stood with lightning neck and thunderous wing, a radiant hymn. So actually that is the beauty of it. Radiant hymn, sukta, the Vedic sukta, hymn, it is Vedic sukta. It is that sukta itself, that hymn itself, which is coming down in response to the murmur from below. When it comes down, when that sukta, when that hymn comes down, it comes with its power of light and joy and happiness, and it takes care of the difficulties of the lower nature. I mean, the power of the hymn is to see that the primal ignorance which is present here is answered, and you see the subconscious caves, guha, which is there in that answer to that inarticulate questioning. There stood with lightning neck and thunderous wing, a radiant hymn to the inexpressible. So that hymn is actually is a chant of praise to the one who cannot be expressed at all. Hymn is trying to express, but that is inexpressible. You cannot express in anything at all. So it is a chant, it is a praise, it is a Lord of the Supreme, praise of the Supreme, a radiant hymn to the inexpressible, and the anthem, the superconscious life, anthem, the whole thing is giving like an anthem. Huge big song, a kind of an orchestra of 1,000 instruments playing together and bringing down that thing. The anthem, the subconscious light, all was revealed there, none can hear, express. All was revealed there, to him, to Ashwapati. So all that thing is there revealed to Ashwapati. All are revealed there, none here expressed. Vision and dream were fables spoken by truth, or symbols more veridical than fact, or were truths enforced by supernatural seal. So Ashwapati, all the seals are now getting opened out to him. He is able to understand the meaning of all those things. But truths enforced by supernatural seal, they were there, but they have been now opened out completely. Vision and dream are fables by the truth. So actually they are the creation or symbols more veridical than fact. All these things are there. All are revealed to Ashwapati, because that sight, that possibility has opened out to him. All are revealed there, none can express them. Vision and dreams were fables spoken by truth, or symbols more veridical than fact, or were truths enforced by supernatural seal. Immortal eyes approached and looked in his. See, that is the inner faculties. He is in the inner planes, you see. So that inner planes have completely opened out here, and therefore immortal eyes approached and looked in his. All the gods and goddesses are looking into his eyes. It is not that he is seeing them; they are seeing into him. It's completely. Immortal eyes approached and looked in his eyes, and beings of many kingdoms neared and spoke. Many kingdoms. It means there are still other kingdoms which are not yet spoken to him, but they will shortly. You see, this is the beginning. And beings, so all these Gandharvas, all the rishis, all the great siddhas, the worlds of beings who are there, they are coming and telling, yes, this is this, this is this, this is this. All those things are there now in front of me. And beings of many kingdoms neared and spoke. The ever-living whom we name as dead could live their glory beyond death and birth. Yeah, you see, people who have realized their immortality, they are there in the world soul. In the world soul, they are there, and they are permanently there. So the ever-living whom we never, so we think that they are gone, they are not, but they are there in the world soul. See, the ever-living whom we name as dead could live their glory beyond death and birth. So they are free of baptism. They are there permanently in the world soul. To utter the wisdom which exceeds all praise. They are there to give us knowledge. They are there to give us knowledge. The Vedic Rishi speaks of our human fathers. They speak of our human fathers. The Vedic Rishi speaks of our fathers. Now imagine, we don't know about that history at all. That we don't know the history of the Vedic Rishis themselves, when it started, how it began, how we have come to this point. We have no idea of the Vedic age also. But these people of the Vedic age, they are speaking of their human fathers. So the history which is there behind them, we have absolutely no knowledge of that, you see. Our knowledge of history is that way extremely big. I mean, we can say roughly the age of the rishis could be around 10,000 years ago, roughly. But before that 10,000 years ago, there were beings, they were doing tapasya, they were doing sadhana, they are doing certain things. Our fathers, and they are there, and they are living there. And they are telling us this. And that knowledge, the Vedic rishis were able to get from those accomplished souls. From those siddhas which are there, the Vedic rishis were able to receive directly from them. And beings of many kingdoms neared and spoke. The ever-living, whom we name as dead, could live their glory beyond death and birth. So for them, it is not the conditions of mortality. They are already in the world of immortality. To utter the wisdom which exceeds all praise. Our language cannot explain, cannot utter those things at all. Our language is incapable of that. To utter the wisdom which exceeds all praise. The kings of evil and the kings of good, appellants as the reason, judgment seat, proclaimed the gospel of their opposition, and all believed themselves unspoken of God. What is here? Yes, there are evil beings, there are beings of good also. And they are the apparent, they are claiming the soul of Ashwati. Yes, you are ours, you are ours. Actually, the gods of light and titans to the dark battle for his soul as for a costly prize. They are there now behind that thing. The gods of light and the titans to the dark, they are claiming his soul. In a word, there is a kind of a tussle. He is there. There is a pull from below, there is a pull above, and there is a constant fight. They want Ashwapati to be there. Why they want the Ashwapati to be there? So that the divine possibilities will not be able to progress, the titans. Why the gods of light want? Because only through that the divine possibilities can open out and enter into this creation. So there is a kind of tussle between them, between the titans and the gods. Actually, if we really understand what Section-2 has written in A Record of Yoga about evolution, how things started, how there were beings of the vital nature earlier, the titans, the Greek god. Before that, there were the demons, and earlier than that, the dwarfs and all that. They were there in of the vital nature, and they will not allow things to happen. And then, of course, there are the gods who are trying to promote the possibilities of the divine here. So there is a constant battle here. So in that sense, again, as I have been telling, the avatarhood of Rama is a very significant transition. With the avatarhood of Rama, all those battles of the asuras, the rakshasas, pishachas, or the titans, or the giants, or the demons, which were opposing that thing, they have been kind of closed down, they have been over, and there, from there onward, the possibilities of the divine mental being started opening out. So that way the transition of Rama's avatarhood is an extremely significant transition in the history of evolution. That the vital forces have been subdued, have been kept under control, and now the possibilities of the divine nature of mind have opened out, and the progress can become rapid, you see. That is the transition which has taken place. So therefore, he is now talking at a point where this battle is going on between the past and the present, you see. To utter the wisdom which exceeds all frame, the kings of evil and the kings of good, appellants and the reason judgment seat. So all that is they are doing is go by reason. Both the kings of evil and the kings of good, they are only by going. Never by the mental faculty, by the faculty of reason alone. But now beyond that, things have to open out more than that. Proclaim the gospel of their opposites. Yes, we are good, we are good. See, opposition. And all believe themselves spokesman of God. You can't refuse that thing. You will speak such language. The gods of light and titans of the dark. So that way, there is a kind of a truth in the Greek mythology of the earlier ancient gods and the Olympians. The fight between the titans and the Olympians are conquered and proved. There is a truth in that behind, you see. The Olympians and the titans, you see. Before that, there was the fight between the titans and the demons, like that, you see. Giants, you see. Battle for his soul as for a costly prize. In every hour, loose on the quiver of time, there rose a song of new discovery, a bowstring's hum of young experiment. So that is the battle, and because it is a battle, therefore there is a bow and arrow, and the moment the arrow is shot, there is a twang, that noise coming out. In every hour, loose on the quiver of time, it is coming out from the quiver of time. There rose a song of new discovery. That is what happened. Actually, it is true. When the Rama avatar comes, A new song has started, a new discovery has begun of the mental being. Manomaya Purusha has appeared on the scene. A bow twang hum of young experiment. Young because it's the beginning of things. The appearance of the Manomaya Purusha in the early stage, and it has been strengthened further. Each day was a spiritual romance, as if he was born into a bright new world. He, Ashwapati. Each day was a spiritual romance, as if he was born into a bright new world. Adventure lived an unexpected friend, and danger brought a keen, sweet tang of joy. Each happening was a deep experience. Well, that is the elaboration. Danger brought a keen, sweet tang of joy. Yes, there is a danger, because there are the titans, there are the evil forces, but they are bringing a joy of conquest. Each happening was a deep experience. Why? To conquer the evil is a great experience, and it's an experience of joy by itself, you see. There were high encounters between the titans and the gods, you see. There were the battle of the titans, that is a famous story in the Greek mythology, you see, the battle of the titans and the Olympians. There were high encounters, epic colloquies, dialogues, exchanges, and countless came, and councils came, couched in celestial speech. Yes, they were talking always in heavenly speech. And councils came, couched in celestial speech. See the repetition of see again here. Councils came, couched in celestial speech. You see. And councils came, couched in celestial speech, and honeyed pleading breathed from occult lips. Yeah, because these are the gods, the titans, they will speak like that. And honeyed pleading breathed from the occult limb, occult, hidden, unknown to us, to help the heart to yield to rapture's call. What for all that thing? So that the heart listens to the call of rapture. All that thing is for what? That the heart listens to the rapture's call. And sweet temptation stole from beauty's realm, and sudden ecstasy from a world of bliss. That is what happened. And there were high encounters. Yes, in spite of that, all these things are happening. It was a rain of wonder and delight. It was a rain of wonder and delight. All now his bright, clear audience could receive his Ashwapati's clear audience, the inner faculties, the inner vision, inner ears, inner faculties, could receive, these all could receive. Contact thrill of mighty unknown things, because his inner vision, inner audience, inner faculties of seeing and all that thing opened out. He could receive them directly. It was a rain of wonder, and therefore it was a kingdom of wonder and delight. You see. All now his bright, clear audience could hear. Means he is there, he can hear now distant sounds, the far sounds, the sounds of the future, also the sounds of the past, he can hear, you see, constantly. And now his bright, clear audience, bright, yes, because that is what he is living in. A contact thrill of mighty, unknown things which are not known yet, but as if he is kind of in contact with them and is thrilled with those contacts, those things. It was a rain of wonder and delight. All now with bright, clear audience could receive a contact thrill of mighty, unknown things. Awakened to new, unearthly closenesses. That is what happened now in the case of Ashwapati. Awakened now to new, unearthly closenesses. The touch replied, subtle infinities. See the contact, all the five senses now, he describes it. The touch, clear audience touch replied, subtle infinities. Now you can go and touch them, the infinities. Very subtle, sukshma, but still you are able to touch them, you see. the touch reply to subtle infinity, and with a silver cry of opening gate, sighs lightning leap into the invisible. What a poetry is it, poetry is it. And the silver cry of opening, the gates are opening, and the sound of the opening of the gate is a silver cry to enter into the invisible. And with a silver cry of opening gate, sights lightning. See, he is describing the five senses: hearing, touch, sight. Sights lightning leap into, they are gone into the invisible directly, you see. Very sheer poetry, you see. You have to just enjoy it, understand it, enter into it, and that itself will explain what it is, you see. Awakened to new, unearthly closenesses. So all those things have become now very intimate to him, very friendly with him, very close to him. The touch reply to subtle infinity, and the silver cry of opening gate, sighs lightning leap into the invisible. This is poetry. Only a poet can do that, you see. Ever his consciousness and vision grew. So with all that inner faculties are there, obviously it is an expansion, growth. See, you are in the divine, but you are growing in the divine. You are in the divine does not mean that you have stopped growing. You can expand, you grow, you acquire better and better faculties, more and more knowledge. They took an ampler sweep, a loftier flight, he passed the border, marked for matter's rule, and passed the zone where thought replaces life. Where thought replaces life. In other words, the transition from the physical, the transition from life, the transition to mind is what is happening here, you see. Ever his consciousness and vision grew. That is the transition from matter to life to mind, you see. They took an ampler sweep. They, consciousness and vision. This stands for consciousness and vision. Ever his consciousness and vision grew. They took an ampler sweep, a loftier flight. Now, of course, this is a comparative phrase. It is a comparative phrase. What he was, with respect to that, they are ampler, they are loftier. In other words, that is not the end. He has to still go on and on further, you see. Ever his consciousness and vision grew, they took an ample sweep, a loftier flight. He passed the border marked for matter's rule. Yes, this is the material domain. Yes, cross that thing. Yes, this is the domain of life. Yes, cross that thing. Yes, this is the domain of mind. Yes, cross that domain. He is going further and further. That is what grew, means. They took an ample sweep, a loftier flight. He passed the border marked for matter's rule, and passed the zone where thought replaces life. And passed the zone where thought replaces life. And pass. See again, metrically, and passed the zone where thought replaces life. Absolutely iambic line, perfect iambic line. And pass, first iamb, the zone, second iamb, where thought, third iamb, replace, fourth iamb, says life, fifth iamb. Absolutely iambic line, you see. And pass the zone where thought replaces life.